Good morning, world.
Good morning.
Today we're going to do part 1 of The Naked Communists, 45 Ways to Destroy America.
Is that Leslie Nielsen?
Naked Gun?
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
Got it.
sorry.
Now, this was written by a guy by the name of Cleon Skousen back in 1958. And then I found this article that was redone by Daniel Mark Walgelstein, you'll see right here, in 2017. So we're just going to go over this because it was written back during the Cold War, the beginning of the Cold War, basically after World War II, about 10 years after World War II, approximately. So this guy wrote it about, so there's a lot of stuff that has to do with Russia, things like that. So we're going to do part 1 right now.
Part 1 coming up. I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian, and this is Cedric and Brian. All right, wait for it. This was written a long time ago, 1958, even before Cedric was born. And then Daniel Mark Wegelstein, I hope I pronounced that right. Sounds like he might be in my tribe. He wrote this article about it in 2017, so there's a little bit of commentary, but we're going to give you the Cedric and Brian commentary.
Yes, that's always worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, that way you guys can call us idiots and that we don't know what we're talking about. All the stuff they liked, especially the Tyson video, right?
Yes.
I'm still getting hate on the Tyson video.
Yes. I'm going to chime in here where I can. I am just about 20 minutes ago coming back from the SoFi Stadium where the Chargers play. I went to a football game, and Brian said, "Get over here, we got to do this video." So here I am. So things are getting rough, and they can get a lot more worse. You have to be prepared.
Yes.
Are you guys prepared? Do you have enough food, water, and other essentials to get you through tough times? If not, check out My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's #1 preparedness company, and they've served millions of American families just like yours. Right now, you can save 25% off their popular 4-week emergency food kit, which will keep you well fed for 4 weeks worth of breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, and snacks, totaling over 2,000 calories a day. This food stays fresh for up to 25 years in proper storage, so it will be there when you need it. In fact, you may need it a lot sooner than that.
So don't wait. Go to www.preparewithcedricandbrian.com. That's www.preparewithcedricandbrian.com. Right here.
Oh, act now, because it's getting worse out there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep. So I'm going to skip the beginning because a lot of these earlier steps, since this was written in the 50s, this had to do with Russia, the Cold War, things that we're really not dealing with on that scale anymore. Now it's more China.
Yeah.
China.
China.
And for those of you who grabbed this out of a time capsule, we had the China virus.
Wuhan virus.
Anyway, so I'm going to skip. So we're going to go, and I'll put it up on the board here, and I will link the article. But we're going to skip right here to number 4 of the 45. What was it? The 45. What to destroy America? The 45. Hold on. 45 goals to destroy the United States. Okay, so remember, as we're reading these, that these were done in 1958.
Yes.
Okay, and you guys can see how much, for one, they've already checked off the boxes, and 2, how much of it has to do with today.
Is this piggybacking on Tom McDonald's song? It goes through the 9 steps?
I mean, it's very, very similar, yeah. Okay. So, and we talked about where those 9 steps came from. This is a different one. So.
Okay.
So number 4 on here is permit free trade between all nations regardless of communist affiliation and regardless of whether or not items could be used for war. So again, this is more, has to do with Russia.
Right.
But now we can just talk about China. So we have all this free trade with China. We're making China real powerful. Is that going to be good for us in the long run? Because they are a communist country.
Right. It's going to come back to bite us in the butt eventually.
So, we want to help the people of China, but then again, we already know that a lot of the people, the Uyghurs, the Muslim Uyghurs, are getting put into concentration camps basically. And what do our politicians do? Yeah. So anyway, but we do have free trade with China. All right, we're going to skip 5 and 6. Go down here, number 7. Here's where we can bring China back.
Grant recognition of Red China and admission of Red China to the UN.
So Nixon did that. So again,
Nixon,
this is not partisan. Nixon was a Republican. He did some really good things. He did some really bad things, and he's known for Watergate, which wasn't really that bad of a thing, but he got caught.
Right.
Nowadays, what he did there, Watergate, I mean, all the gates that go on now, but be that as it may, we allowed China to be part of the UN, and we'll go over a little bit later just about the whole UN thing.
Right.
So, all right, so now we get in the meat. So I'm skipping again. Look at the whole article. You can see the other ones. I don't really think that they hold for today. But number 11, promote the UN as the only hope for mankind. If its charter is rewritten, demand that it be set up as a one world government with its own independent armed forces. Well, we already have NATO, right?
Yes.
So, one world government, new world order. I mean, these are buzzwords that are being used today.
Yeah. Promoting the UN as the only hope for mankind.
Yeah. It reminds me of Starfleet or whatever, that when you talk about Star Wars
and
Star Trek and those things, where that's the galaxy. You have to have one world order for that. So we still right now, we just live
What's your
on
note
Earth.
there? Junior in college?
So one thing they've started, I mean, they started this a long time ago. They have the junior UN that they have in all the big universities. So they already indoctrinate these kids that the UN is something real important. And I had some people who worked for me that they were all big into the UN in their college.
Little socialists in training.
Yeah. So you'll see this note that he had here, and this is the guy who he's just putting in his comments that the world government was also a dream of Adolf Hitler and Stalin.
Oh, those are two models to...
And look down there, also Osama bin Laden.
Oh, jeez.
So, when you have these people that crave power, which we know Hitler did because he was trying to take over all of Europe, these people want one world. We want, even in the United States, we want United States and each state to be separate.
Yes.
We're a federalist system. What the left wants right now, and what their heavy boot is at least one giant federal government order.
Doesn't work because who's in charge of that?
Yeah.
And you look at...
It's not what we set up for.
Stalin and Hitler, and we use this term a lot, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yeah. You give one person or two individuals that much power, it's going to be a house of cards that's going to just implode upon itself.
Yep. So remember, this was written in 1958. Okay, so here, you can probably want to hit with this. Do away with loyalty oaths.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Yeah. We did that at the game today, at the NFL game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do the black national anthem. They just did one national anthem.
So, and they're saying that if you work for the federal government, so you're working for the United States, you should have an oath to the United States. And they do it when they swear in the president. They do it when they swear in the Supreme Court justices. But now, of course, little by little, we've been taking it out from the grade schools and then on up.
Yeah. Well, there's a key word in that phrase. It says loyalty.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have loyalty to anything, and loyalty doesn't mean that you're bowing down. This is like you're almighty.
Right.
But there's a sense of camaraderie, and like I was watching the two teams today, the Chargers and the Cowboys. They have on uniforms, and they commit their loyalty to those teams. Yeah. And you and I talk about this all the time about wearing the flags and things like that, pledging loyalty, but we're individuals, but we're loyal to our team.
But you have to, and this is what the federal government really is for, it's to protect us, because there are people like bin Laden out there. There were people like Stalin and Hitler. You have to be loyal to your team. Our team is the United States. Otherwise, the other team will just run in and take it over. So,
right.
And unfortunately, with all the stuff going on with the Biden administration in Afghanistan, it's making us look really weak on the world stage. Really bad. All right, let's go down to 17 here. I've got my scribbles on there. You want to read this one?
Yes. Get control of the schools. Use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda. Soften the curriculum. Get control of teachers' associations and put the party line in textbooks. CRT. This is being done all the damn time.
And it's been going on, but it's getting ramped up and ramped. And remember, this was written in 1958, people. This is, I mean, this guy's Nostradamus.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. Soften the curriculum because
That's what they're doing.
I'm sure for those of you who have kids who are in college right now and they're graduating with these liberal degrees and they're not finding jobs, it's like you go to school and you get a degree in gender studies. Mm-hmm. Where are you going to get a job with gender studies? Something that you can really summarize in 3 or 4 seconds
Google.
by pulling someone's pants down and say, okay,
Facebook.
you're a man, you're a woman. That's it.
You get a job at Facebook, Google,
Oh, jeez.
Twitter.
That is powerful. Get control of the teachers' associations.
They've already done it. Check. That's pretty much done. And we use the term socialism, and socialism, with AOC, with that tax the rich, socialism is just pretty much accepted now because people think, socialism not so bad. I mean, that's what they've done with the schools now. So kids, they did a poll, and the young kids now, they don't think socialism would be that bad. But what they're actually propagating is communism. And they say that because the BLM leaders said they're pulling from the Marxist communist playbook.
Right.
Not the socialist. Bernie likes to say, oh, it's like Sweden. No. They're pulling stuff and separating people and pulling us apart exactly for this. It's communism, basically, because you're going to have a leader that controls everybody else. You're not going to have one of those nice Scandinavian countries, which is capitalism, by the way. Very good capitalism there. They just have a very big safety net. What they're promoting here is a communistic form of socialism.
Yeah, and like you said, you're absolutely correct. I see a lot of students today, being a former teacher, that a lot of kids are about socialism because a lot of them are living a softer version of it now, where mom and dad go to work or just one parent goes to work. They stay at home all day, do nothing but play video games for 5 to 6 hours, have one chore, maybe 2 chores a week, and they get to have their video games and their shoes and all this stuff. And
they don't know what it's like to work.
They have no idea what it's like to work.
And now they don't have to work at school for grades because all these schools are dropping all of the requirements.
Right.
They're making, because we need equity. That's the
I've
word.
seen some things in textbooks, that last thing you're talking about. If you look in textbooks, sometimes what they call, when you sell products, the Oprah effect, like back in the day when she was big and you put her product on the show and it would just explode. There is more text given to Oprah Winfrey than there is to 9/11 in most textbooks because she's such a huge part of history now.
Yep. This next one, pretty much already done because the school, especially the people, it says gain control of all student newspapers. So it's already taken, it's not just student newspapers.
Yeah, it's all newspapers.
It's most newspapers. But the schools especially, because the universities, now the high schools, and it's going even down to the elementary schools, are run by the left. So they already have everything in there. So I'll read this next one because this is another one that's what's going on now.
Oh, geez. Use student riots to foment public protests against programs, organizations that are under communist attack. Note, the success of these goals from a communist perspective is obvious. Is there any doubt this is so?
So that came from the person who did this. That's his little comment on there. But use student rights. So what we've done is, this was written in 1958. So now it's not just students because the students have graduated. It's just riots. Use riots to foment public protests. So obviously we saw that last summer.
Yeah.
And what they've done is they're using minorities right now to promote this communist agenda.
Right.
And they're not hiding the ball. I mean, what was her name? Patrice Cullors?
Yes.
Who's now gone because she bought a mansion in Bel Air or whatever.
Bought a few.
But she's the one who said, I'm a trained Marxist. I mean, they're not hiding the ball, people. So the people that say, oh, you guys are a bunch of conspiracy theorists, it's like,
no.
What do we have to conspire?
Go back and look at the tape. You saw Maxine Waters said, get in their face, get in the restaurants, interrupt their meals. It's not hiding. They want to do this intentionally.
You know what this is?
What?
It's a damn shame.
It's a damn shame is what it is. Use student. And that's so weird because they're using the kids. It's like Hitler's youth.
Oh, I know.
It's like they can't get the adults like us because we're already kind of resolute in the way we think. So it's like, let's forget about them. They'll age out and we'll start with a whole new regime of younger people coming up.
All right, so here's the next one. Infiltrate the press. Done. Check that off. Get control of book reviews, assignments, editorial writing, as policy-making positions. So obviously, luckily, we're not Canada or Australia. We still have people like Ted Cruz. We have people like Rand Paul.
Yes.
We have people that are fighting back. DeSantis, who they're so afraid of that they have to demonize him at every corner. But obviously they've done this, and instead of book reviews, since this was 1958, now they've just taken control of Hollywood, of social media. So that's the next thing instead of books. So and then they control it. So right
Gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures. Oh my goodness, they are doing this to the T.
And now it's also social media platforms, which is the new entertainment sections and stuff like that.
Wow.
So here's the next one. Continue discrediting American culture by degrading all form of artistic expression. An American communist cell was told to eliminate all good sculpture from parks and buildings, substituting shapeless, awkward, and meaningless forms. This is already done. Look in front of your buildings, your public buildings in like Chicago.
Right.
And there's not, remember before art was something that you looked on, it's like, oh, that's beautiful. That looks, I know what that is. Mm-hmm. Now it's just a twisted piece of metal, and it's like, oh, that's really pretty.
I disagree with Brian because I think Hunter Biden is an incredible artist. All the stuff that he put out that just speaks to the soul.
And we talked about before, some of the postmodern art was the guy who would just like throw paint on the canvas, and then they'd stand there. Anyway.
But I like that. I don't like it, but discrediting American culture. Because look at the kids nowadays in high school and college, like everything that America does, they can't stand.
Yeah, I know. And then this falls right in line. Control art critics and directors of art museums. So I would say, again, this was 1958. So the arts were much bigger now. Now modern entertainment is much different. We're talking about music. We're talking about pop culture, Netflix, things like that. But we did a whole episode where when you had the Rotten Tomatoes,
right.
The critics and the general public were like this on a lot of things. Like that one comedian that isn't funny, the critics gave her almost 100, the general public like 20. Yeah. It's because they control the critics.
Yeah, because they weren't trying to get, it wasn't laughter, it was clapter.
Yeah.
They made so many incredible leftist communist points that the people just clapped, and comedy isn't even about laughing anymore.
Yeah. So remember, guys, this was written in 1958. Oh my gosh, I just said guys. That was terrible.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
He apologizes.
Remember, people. I want all of you menstruating people and non-menstruating people not to turn us
and
off.
birthing people.
All right. So this one kind of, you could tell this is 1958. Eliminate all governing obscenity by calling them censorship and a violation of free speech and free press. They've kind of flipped that.
Yeah.
So now, obviously, we haven't brought obscenity down. In fact, this is what, and I'm not a prude. Me and him are not prudes. But you listen to kids talk. I mean, as young as, college kids were supposed to be educated kids, and they're throwing F-bombs like every third word. It's like, don't you have a vocabulary? They just use that word for whatever they want to describe. It's like there are more words in your vocabulary, I'd hope, at a college level. Right. And then obviously we see things on the internet. You can get porn everywhere.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And a violation of free speech. This might be a good time to bring up. I'm not. Again, like Brian just said, we're not prude. I don't really enjoy the type of music that a Nicki Minaj puts out. But for those of you who remember what happened last week when she said that about the vaccine, she was just simply saying that it's your choice. That's all she said. Now, Malcolm X has said some things that, one or two things that I agree with, but I'm not a proponent of Malcolm X. I always say that, a broken clock is right twice a day. But Nicki Minaj was absolutely right when she said that we should have the right to pray about it, think about it, and see if the vaccine is right for you. And all of a sudden, she became under attack from the left.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, she was no longer a sister.
Well, you know why? Because Tucker posted it, and she agreed.
Right.
She gave Tucker a bullseye because, that's the cardinal sin. But you know what? They talk about these brave people. Oh, you're so brave for coming out as gay or whatever. They're accepted. That's fine. Nobody has a problem with that.
I can top coming out as gay. I've come out as a black conservative.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's brave.
Top that.
What Nicki Minaj ended up doing, because she could have given in right away and said, you know what, you're right. And I expected her to do that, actually.
Right.
When she was getting through, I figured she's gonna come out and say I made a mistake. But she didn't. She held firm.
Yeah.
But then she was invited to the White House by Biden and somebody else.
Yeah.
So then I thought 1984. They're going to put her in that room and have her say that 2 + 2 is 5.
Right. Right.
So if she comes back in a week and reverses it, just remember she went into that room with whatever.
The sad part is that Biden believes 2 + 2 is, the thing.
The thing.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed part 1 of that. Make sure you tune in the next couple of days for part 2. I can't promise you what day. Depends on how quickly this man does his editing job. But stay tuned for part 2. And in the meantime, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you ring that bell, and share our videos with everyone you know. And in the meantime, continue being good to each other. Until next time, I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian. See you later.